Hey, we have to talk about Oden's freaking life, man.
Kozuki Oden.
Kozuki Oden lived a spectacular life. Ever
Yeah.
since he stepped out of his mama, he's been fighting his whole life. Fighting injustice, fighting for himself, fighting for fun.
Fighting against virginity. Maybe we should start by saying that this episode will focus on Oden's life. And if you haven't read the manga up until the latest chapter, we will spoil the hell out of it. So if you're following the anime and you don't want any spoilers, watch out. Yeah, we will be going through Oden's life year by year, more or less. And
Exactly.
saying what happens during that year, and if something else happens the same year in another part of the world that could be interesting to know about.
59 years ago from the current timeline, Oden was born. And in the same year, he was able to fling his wet nurse around. Boom! And Kenjuro
he
was,
was-
also born this year. Yeah.
Oden was strong as hell when he was just 1 year old.
Yeah, man. Imagine you have a kid and the kid just fling you around.
And then 55 years ago, when Oden was 4, he throws a large boulder at a bear, crushing it to death. He's a strong fella, this Shad. 53 years ago,
Oden was 6 years old and he went around in the red light district wasting the royal funds, the money of the Kozuki family, basically. He wasted it.
he was
on
in the prostitute
yeah,
district
You know,
at 6 years old.
should I go not safe for work? You know, Oden doesn't have a mother, right? We haven't heard anything
Yeah.
about his mother, so maybe he got some like mommy issues.
Find his
Yeah,
mother.
get intimidated.
Maybe his mother is a prostitute.
No, to get close with women, you know. This is so weird, man.
In an emotional way.
It's like paying someone. Here you have $1,000. Can I suck your boobie?
When Oden was 9, so this is 50 years ago, he almost started a war with the Yakuza over a casino blacklisting him. So he was gambling at age 9 as well.
Was he winning too much, and that's why he got blacklisted, or did he start fights?
I think he cheated. Worth saying that this year also a bladesmith from Wano left. And during this time it was illegal to leave Wano.
Yeah, Shimotsuki Kusabaru. But not only that, it's like several Wano inhabitants left Wano illegally. That could be including Zoro's master, Koshiro maybe? Or maybe Koshiro's parents. 44 years ago, when Oden was 15. This is the good stuff. That's when Oden caused a harem revolt. Basically, Oden was living at a temple and he went out every night and flirted around and brought every woman home to his temple, and eventually he ended up with a harem, and that caused a war.
The same year here we have a couple of people that was born. Don Creek, Morgan. So I got a couple of people from East Blue actually. Kyros and Shiryu. 41 years ago, when Oden was 18, he was at first disowned from his father, so he couldn't be the shogun anymore in the future of Wano. And then a giant pig attacked, called the Mountain God Incident, which, I guess Oden saved a lot of lives in this incident. And he met his 2 first red scabbards,
Yeah.
Kinemon and Denjiro.
The mystery man, Denjiro. Yeah, this is basically when the flashback
The
starts.
mystery man, Denjiro.
When we get to see everyone for the first time, 41 years ago. It's also the same year
Yeah.
Doflamingo, Arlong, and Virgo, and Spandam were born.
This same year, Oden left for Kuri, a part of Wano, and stole money for Orochi because he wanted to help Orochi.
Really?
He
Same
seemed
year?
like a nice little fella.
I see. Yeah, and speaking of money, as you can see, the first panel we see of Denjiro, he's like a thief and he's
Yeah.
throwing around some money. And that just makes me think of the witching hour boy. Because he steals money from the rich and gives to the poor.
And Denjiro is the only scabbard we haven't seen officially in the present timeline.
39 years ago, maybe a few years more, Oden met Izo and Kiko when they were kids in Ringo. He met Kanjuro, he met Raizo, and he met and fought Ashura Doji and defeated him. Oden basically took over.
And he met most of the samurais that would later follow him during these years.
He started to get his mojo going there. He basically became the daimyo of the Kuri. Constructed a castle and everything.
Exactly. Yeah. His father, because he actually took over and improved Kuri, he reverted the disowning. So he could still be a part of the royal family after this. He had shown his father that he actually is a good man.
Yeah, so he was disowned for 2 years basically. And then he was welcomed back to the family again.
33 years ago. Then a little fish-looking boy.
Oh, my favorite.
Kawamatsu.
Yeah.
Your favorite?
Yeah.
Finds a little cat boy and dog boy. Nekomushi and Inurashi.
Yeah, because Inu means dog and Arashi means storm.
He finds them at the beach where they get captured, seeing as they probably look like monsters to the people of Wano.
Yeah, they all got captured, but rescued by Oden. And they want to repay their debt to Oden and basically joined Oden's entourage of people. Yeah, we finally found out Kawamatsu is a fishman and not a real kappa.
Yeah.
A lot of more stuff happened 33 years ago. Oden lent more money to Orochi, I guess, and he sent the scabbards to steal from Yasue. That's like the panel flashback we had earlier in the arc. You know, when we saw Izo for the first time, basically.
The previous pirates of the Rocks crew starts to recruit pirates of their own. So people like Kaido and Big Mom, Whitebeard, and Doflamingo's father gives up his Celestial Dragon title, which makes them regular people, hated by everyone. And people like Drake, Gladius, Shura and Papag that is born this year.
Yeah.
So 33 years ago. I didn't know that Papag was this old.
He's old as
30 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years later. This is when Oden is talking with his father. His father is ill. And of course Orochi is spying on everyone. Whitebeard, he shipwrecked onto Wano and clashed with Oden. And of course, after some time, Oden tries to join Whitebeard, right? But he can't join him because Whitebeard doesn't want him. So he's dragged by the chains behind the boat and all that stuff that we saw in the flashback. But eventually, Oden met Toki and he joined Whitebeard and living happily with Whitebeard for a few years.
He becomes a Whitebeard pirate.
A lot of other cool stuff happens, like Aokiji, or his real name rather, Kuzan, joins the Marines. Shinjao has his legendary battle with Garp. Robin is born.
Punches him in the head.
Lucci is born.
Me? Was I born? I was
were
born 30 years ago as well.
Yeah.
What?
And Hody Jones were born. You remember that?
The junkie fishman.
And another fan favorite was born, Monet, the harpy woman.
20 years ago from the current timeline of One Piece, Oden is 31 years old and gets his first kid. We find out that Roger this year learns that he has an incurable disease and recruits Crocus. And Nico Olivia, Robin's mom, leaves O'Hara.
Some significant people were born, like Jack. Dr. Q of Blackbeard Pirates. He doesn't look 28 years old. Sai, the third captain of the Grand Fleet. Yep. Wanda, the dog. And the all-time favorite that everyone loves. You know, the real fan favorite of One Piece.
Noodle
Wansu.
guy.
Yeah. Between 28 to 26 years ago, Whitebeard created the divisions.
Yeah.
Oden was appointed as a second division commander. You know, the special division that
scene.
Ace later takes over. Because they told Ace that this post has been empty for a while, right? Marshall D. Teach, he joins the crew. He is like between 10 to 12 years old. And also, maybe most important, during this time, Roger is fighting against Shiki in the Ed War. And that's the evidence we see in Chapter 0, basically.
Oden was 33 during this period.
Yeah, and he got Hiyori, his second child, his first daughter. Every kid has been born on Moby Dick's ship. I mean the ship that is named Moby Dick.
During this time, Whitebeard crew met the Roger crew, and they fight. And at the end, Oden begs Whitebeard to be able to join Roger.
Yeah.
And he does.
He was supposed to borrow Oden for a year, right? And then Oden was supposed to get back to Whitebeard, but as we know, that never happened.
Yeah. During this year, the Roger pirates were adventuring, and they arrived at Skypiea, where they wrote the message next to a poneglyph that we see that Luffy and the gang actually read when they visit Skypiea. And they also visit Fishman Island, where Charlie predicts that Poseidon will be born 10 years later. And they read finally the poneglyph at Sue, which means that they, at this time period, 26 years ago, have 3 of the 4 red poneglyphs, the road stones.
Oh, I see.
And the same year, Oden's father died. He was poisoned on Wano by Orochi.
Oh.
And we have some cool people born this year as well.
Yeah.
Like Law, Cavendish, Lola and Chiffon, Charlotte twins. And this was definitely one of your favorites for a long while. Paolo.
Oh my god! Rope action, man!
So a year later...
25 years ago, Oden is 34 years old. He's been with Roger for like what? 1 year only? Yeah?
A year.
They arrive at Raftel, or like you would say, Loftel. Roger becomes the pirate king, and they found out about One Piece and all that. The crew disbanded.
And they laughed.
Yeah, they just disbanded.
And
Roger left the crew. He's the first one to leave.
Yeah.
He went to find that. He went for a booty call, basically. It's like, you guys, hoes before bros. Oden went back to Wano. He's all lonely and everything without Roger. He found out about Orochi and all that stuff. He tries to take out Orochi, but then the whole deal happened. The thing has been splitting the fandom. Oden made a deal with Orochi that he's gonna apologize for what the Wano people has been doing to his family, the Kurozomi family. And in order to apologize for them, he's gonna dance naked for 5 years. And every time he dance naked, they're gonna release like 100 prisoners. He tried to kill off Orochi, but Orochi is protected by the Bari no Mi, Bartolomeo's fruit. Orochi and Kaido said they're gonna leave Wano after 5 years. Oden believed it.
Yeah. 5 years, every week he danced naked on the streets of Wano.
And at the same time, 25 years ago, this is when Arlong's sister predicts that the pirate era will start next year. 1 year later, Roger is executed and the great pirate era starts. And Oden reads about it in a newspaper he got from Orochi.
And 1 year later after that, so 23 years ago,
this is
Moria enters Wano. He and Kaido fight, and this is something we learned about in Thriller Bark way back when. And his entire crew, Moria's crew, were slaughtered by Kaido. But at least he was managed to rob Ryuma's grave. So he got something.
20 years ago, Oden is 39 years old. Basically, Whitebeard, he claims Fishman Island as his own territory. Nami is born, and Bellameri finds her the same year. And then back in Wano, Orochi, he captured Hyogoro. Hyo, Luffy's teacher at the moment, killed his wife. Oden set out for revenge. He tried to assassinate Kaido in his drunken sleep, but he was intercepted by Kaido on the way there. Kaido said he has a spy in Oden's camp.
So they fight, Oden and Kaido, and this is the first time we actually see them fight, and we see the full strength of Oden in a lot of ways in his grown age, seeing as he managed to actually damage Kaido, but he is tricked. So he thinks Momo, his son, is at the battlefield by Higarashi, the old lady that is a part of Orochi's family that could transform herself into Momo. And he got tricked and loses the fight. So Oden and his 9 samurai are captured.
Yeah, they're all captured. They're about to be boiled to death, but Oden comes up with a brilliant plan. They can survive for 1 hour. They will spare them. So basically, Oden put his scabbard, his men, on the lid and carries them for 1 hour.
Yeah. And this is...
But then fucking Orochi, man. Orochi changed his mind and say the execution will be by shooting. But Oden is quick, even though he's being boiled, throws off his scabbards and they escape to live another day.
Yeah, but he himself don't. Kaido decides to kill Oden himself. And he falls into the boiling oil, smiling. And we haven't seen that many people actually die with a smile on their face in One Piece. The D clan, of course, is...
Don't you go at me saying his name is O-D-N. Please.
39 years old, Kozuki Oden dies.
Yeah.
What a man.
What a man.
Holy shit. And this is the end of the longest flashback in One Piece history.
How long is it? 13 chapters, right? It's an amazing flashback.
For a while, it almost turned into Roger's flashback. And I think that's the reason why it was so long. Because Oda decided that he was gonna introduce and tell us about a lot of things about Roger and the state of the world. Yeah, that's that. That's Oden's entire life.
Yeah, man.
In a nutshell.
Okay, Robin. See you in another flashback. Woo!